You've looked in the mirror and felt like something just isn't working, but you can't put your finger on what. Maybe it's not your skin. Maybe it's not your makeup. Maybe it's your hair, and nobody around you has had the courage to say so. Let's fix that right now. I research worst style and beauty mistakes and youth-boosting fixes for mature women so you get simple, proven transformations that work instantly. Today we're uncovering 5 outdated hairstyles that are quietly aging you. And by part 3, you'll want to pause this video, walk to your mirror, and really look. I mean it. We're covering everything from the cut that flattens your face to the color technique that adds a decade in seconds. And the very first hairstyle on this list? I see it on 9 out of 10 women over 50. Let's go. 1. The blunt one-length cut. Have you ever spent weeks growing your hair out, finally felt good about the length, and still somehow looked heavier, older, and flatter every single time you glanced in the mirror? That feeling is real. And for so many women over 50, the culprit is the blunt one-length cut. Here is what is happening beneath the surface. As we age, our faces naturally lose volume and definition. The cheekbones soften. The jawline shifts. A blunt, flat, one-length cut has zero movement, which means it pulls the eye straight down, emphasizing every area you want to lift, and erasing the natural structure your face still absolutely has. This is the one thing I wish someone had told me before I sat in that chair. That downward pull alone can add 5 to 7 years to your appearance. And most women have no idea it is their haircut doing it. The fix is not dramatic. You are not starting over. What you need are interior layers. Not layers that shorten the length, but layers that introduce movement inside the cut, so the hair lifts naturally away from the face. Think of it as sculpting air into the hair rather than cutting off inches. If you are still wearing a perfectly blunt, all one-length cut with no internal movement, swap it for a soft-layered version at the same length. The difference is immediate. Your bone structure becomes visible again. Keep your maintenance simple. Ask your stylist for a dusting every 8 weeks, just the ends, to keep that layered shape fresh without sacrificing the length you love. There is one more thing about this cut that nobody says out loud. When the hair lies completely flat with no movement, it also compresses the crown, which visually shortens your entire silhouette. Adding even the lightest layers at the top changes the proportion of your whole appearance, not just your hair. Swap a flat blunt parting for a soft side part, or a gentle curtain effect at the front. Even that small shift redirects the eye upward and draws attention back to those beautiful eyes. This is the one that made a friend of mine stop mid-conversation, stare at my hair, and ask what on earth I had changed. I had only added movement. That was it. And coming up in part 2, the color technique that seems harmless, but is one of the fastest ways to make your skin look dull, tired, and 10 years older than it actually is. 2. All-over single-tone color. Let me ask you something directly. When was the last time you sat in that color chair and walked out genuinely glowing? Not just satisfied, but actually luminous. If that feeling has been missing for a while, your color formula might be working against you. Here is the truth that most colorists never say to your face. Single-tone all-over color, especially in darker or cooler shades, sits flat against the skin. And flat color on mature skin does something very specific and very unkind. It creates a visual shadow effect that pulls the attention away from your eyes and facial features, and sends it straight to every line, every shadow, and every area of the face you would rather minimize. You needed to hear this. As skin naturally loses pigment with age, it needs contrast and dimension from the hair to stay looking vibrant. Single-tone color removes that contrast entirely. The result is that your skin and hair begin to read as one flat wash, and suddenly your whole face looks tired, even when you feel wonderful. The fix is not a full color overhaul. It is dimension. Ask your colorist for face framing highlights, just 2 or 3 shades lighter than your base, placed around the front sections of your hair. These do not need to be bold or obvious. They only need to exist near the face, because that is where the light will catch and reflect back onto your skin. The result is an almost immediate brightening effect, and it takes your colorist exactly 4 minutes to place. If you are working with gray or silver hair, this still applies. Adding warm pearl tones or soft champagne highlights around the face prevents the cool gray from washing the skin out entirely. Swap flat all-over color for a dimensional base with face framing variation. Your complexion will look fresher, and your eyes will suddenly read brighter without changing a single thing about your makeup. Honestly, dimensional color is the one change I have watched transform women in a single appointment. Not surgery, not skincare, just color that works with the face instead of fighting it. Maintenance here is simple. A gloss treatment every 6 to 8 weeks keeps the tones from going brassy or dull between color appointments. And that freshness is what keeps the whole look alive. And in part 3, we are talking about a cut that is everywhere right now. And it is aging women faster than almost anything else on this list. You may already be wearing it. The overly rounded mushroom bob. This one is a bold truth moment. If your current haircut rounds outward at the sides and sits wide and full around the jaw, I need you to hear this before your next appointment. The rounded mushroom bob is one of the most common cuts on women over 50, and it is one of the most aging. Here is why it is doing what it is doing to your face. Volume at the sides widens the visual width of the lower face. And on mature skin, where the jaw and jowl area has naturally changed, adding width at that exact location is the opposite of what the face needs. The cut literally frames the part of your face that draws the most attention downward, while simultaneously compressing the crown and removing all height. This is the one thing I wish someone had warned me about before I got comfortable with this cut. The fix redirects volume where your face actually needs it up. A soft layered bob with height at the crown and closed tapered sides creates the opposite silhouette. Instead of width at the jaw, you get lift at the top. Instead of compression, you get elongation. The whole face reads slimmer, taller, and more refined, from the exact same starting length. Think of it this way. Volume at the crown equals a longer-looking neck, a slimmer jaw, and more visible cheekbones. Volume at the sides equals the opposite of all three. Yes. That simple. If you are wearing rounded width at the jaw, swap it for crown volume and tapered sides. The transformation in the mirror will genuinely stop you. Your maintenance here is every 6 to 8 weeks to keep the taper clean and the crown shape from growing out into width again. This cut only works when the shape stays sharp. This is the one that made a woman I know genuinely emotional in the best possible way. She had been wearing a version of this rounded shape for 12 years. One appointment changed everything. And part 4 is where we go somewhere even more surprising, because the next outdated hairstyle on this list has nothing to do with your cut. It is something most women do every single morning without even realizing it is adding years. 4. The stiff set overworked style. You already know the look. You have probably seen it, maybe even done it yourself. Hair that has been curled, set, pinned, and sprayed until every single strand is exactly in place, perfectly sculpted, and completely immovable. That level of finish was glamorous once. Today, it is one of the most instantly aging things a woman over 50 can do to her hair. Here is what is happening visually. Stiff set, overworked hair creates a hard outline around the face. And hard lines on mature skin emphasize texture and shadow instead of softening them. The look reads as effort, which oddly, is the opposite of youthful. Youth reads as ease, effortlessness, natural movement. Honestly, the more perfect and set the hair looks, the older it registers to the eye. I know that sounds unfair, but this is the truth that changes everything. The fix is softness. Not undone. Not messy. Just breathable. Swap your stiff hold spray for a light hold or flexible finish product. Let your curls or waves fall naturally rather than pinning them into place. Allow some movement at the front. A single piece that moves near the face creates an entirely different impression. One that reads as relaxed, modern, and genuinely elegant. Think of the women who look timeless in their 60s and beyond. Their hair moves. It has texture. It looks like it belongs to someone living a full, confident life. Not someone who spent an hour making sure nothing shifts. Your natural elegance has always been there. Stiff styling was just hiding it. Maintenance here is about product, not appointment. Switching to a flexible mousse or soft cream instead of hard hold spray is a change you can make tomorrow morning. Start there. See the difference in a single look. This is the one that consistently gets the most reactions when I share it, because the change is immediate and it costs nothing. And part 5 is where we end on the most unexpected one of all. It is the hairstyle that feels the safest, the most classic, and is somehow doing the most damage. Stay with me. 5. The severe short crop with no texture. If someone once told you that short hair was the practical, easy choice after 50, I want you to reconsider what version of short hair they were actually describing. Because there is a version of the short crop that refreshes. And there is a version that diminishes. The severe, unblended, close-cropped cut with no texture and no variation is the version that diminishes. And it is far more common than it should be. The fix is a textured pixie or a feathered short crop. Not longer. Just softer. A textured pixie uses layers and variation to create movement and lightness around the face. The top carries a little more length. The sides taper gradually rather than uniformly. The nape sits clean and polished. The result is a short cut that still looks sculptural. But now it has dimension, softness, and a face-framing quality that the severe version completely lacks. If you are wearing a severe uniform crop, swap it for a feathered textured version at the same length. Ask your stylist for disconnected layers at the crown and a soft tapered finish rather than a blunt uniform one. Your maintenance window here is every 5 to 6 weeks to keep the shape from losing its softness. A textured crop grows out quickly, and the moment it loses the texture is the moment it starts working against you again. This is the one that surprised the most women I have shared it with. Because short hair feels safe. It feels low maintenance. But the version matters more than the length. The right version of short hair is one of the most elegant, confident choices a woman over 50 can make. And now that you have all 5 of these, take a breath. Because everything you just learned is something most women spend years trying to figure out on their own. You just learned 5 specific hairstyles that have been quietly aging you. And 5 precise replacements that work with your face instead of against it. That is not nothing. That is the kind of knowledge most women search years to find. You didn't just watch a video. You changed how you'll look at your next salon appointment. Your bone structure, your natural elegance, and those beautiful eyes. They have always been there. Now your hair is going to show them off the way they deserve. Tell me in the comments, which of these 5 outdated hairstyles were you wearing without knowing it was aging you? I genuinely want to know. Next time, we are uncovering the one accessory mistake that adds 10 years to any outfit. And it is something most women wear every single day without thinking twice. Like this video, subscribe to Timeless Wisdom Path, and I will see you in the next one.